The camera pans down to the logo of a classy social club. It pushes in as a man walks in and hands the maitre d' a card. He nods and walks off. The camera pushes through past the thick smoke and sounds of laughing and clinking of glasses filled with expensive liquor. The men are sharply dressed. The women are beautifully dressed in their dresses. It comes to a card game. A woman is betting and losing. She asks if the house will cover her $1,000. They nod. The man across the table says he admires her courage. And then she says she admires his luck, Mr. As he lights and takes a puff of his cigarette, Bond. James Bond is his name. Welcome to the heart of episode 19, where we're going to talk about what makes the Bond film so irresistible, from movies like Goldfinger to No Time to Die. These films have always had one step in the fantasy and one step in reality. Some lean more to fantasy and others into reality, but both draw the viewer into an experience, a world that they will never get to experience, one with thrills, wonder, danger, sexy people, and doing it all while looking your best. I don't plan on ranking any of the films or talking about the films that did it better or than any of the other films. I just want to talk about the elements that make these movies so seductive. From locations to set pieces to unforgettable women that have left an impact on me ever since I saw my first James Bond film. It's either Dr. No or GoldenEye. I can't remember. It felt like I was watching something I wasn't supposed to watch. A world I wasn't supposed to be privy to. Like opening up the curtain and seeing something that you know you're not supposed to see, something that's a little above you. I think I was either in middle school, probably middle school when I first saw my first one. Again, Dr. No or GoldenEye, I can't remember. You know what? GoldenEye. I know exactly what happened. Okay, flashback. My cousin Anthony and his brother Wadia showed me the film GoldenEye. There's a scene where one of the villains, Xenia Onatopp, is trying to get information about she's trying to get his card, and she lures this military official in, and they're hooking up, and she squeezes his gut with her legs and squeezes the life out of him, and he can't breathe, and she's just a psycho, and she's having a great old time. And watching that was like, what am I watching? What am I looking at? I'm feeling feelings. So just seeing that for the first time, and then watching the whole film from beginning to end, not just that little piece, I was hooked. From Pierce Brosnan's looks, to the suits, to the clubs, to the locations, to the gadgets, to Sean Bean, everything about it drew me in, so I had to watch more. And my mom had gotten me a box set, so I got to start with the first one, Dr. No. The scene I described in the beginning of the podcast was the first scene of Dr. No, and you're just drawn into this world that you know you couldn't possibly afford or be allowed in. And it was almost like I get to peek. I get to be part of this society that I know I would never get to be in. And that's, to me, the fantasy element. More than just the gadgets and the evil layers and the plots of world domination. It's the fantasy of getting to be part of a society with rich people going to, jump in all locations across the world, whether it's skiing in Spectre or Mexico, going to the Day of the Dead festival in Spectre, whether it's cruising through a Ferrari in the beginning of GoldenEye, whether it's going to Jamaica and Dr. No, and getting to see all these places, you are invited in to a world that is filled with fraught and danger, like I said earlier, and it's just irresistible. It's hard to not get seduced, to be part of this, to get to live through James Bond, this avatar that the film creates for you as he goes against these challenges, these psychos, and not have a great time. So I had just watched Dr. No, From Russia with Love, and Goldfinger, and I plan to watch the rest of them. So getting to see, how the styles and the fashions have changed from the 60s, 62, 63, 64, to the 70s, to the 80s, to now, where how you see the cars evolve, the locations, the way he gets there. And one constant throughout the James Bond films, because like I said earlier, some films lean more into the fantasy than other films. For example, Moonraker, I like Star Wars too, I guess. With the how they go to space and they have the laser battles, but how, like, for example, in Casino Royale, it's this gritty, more brutal James Bond, but the one constant is the locations, whether that's Casino Royale's, exclusive poker match and the beaches and these beautiful resorts and beautiful women that he interacts with, but still that gritty, brutal quality to it when he has these fights, and how you see he gets his 00 status in the beginning of the film, to Moonraker, where again you're in space and Jaws talks for the first time. The locations in Moonraker are also like, Versailles and the countryside and Venice and all these classy places, whether it's GoldenEye, with the same things, the locations are always there. The thrilling set pieces are what make these movies as well. Again, it's an easy, because I was just talking about it, but Casino Royale, the opening chase, where James Bond is trying to find this bomb maker, and just the very elaborate chase and begin the film. That opening adventure that's not part of the main adventure has always been such a staple, that really started with Goldfinger, when he destroys a heroin plant, to even just a simple introduction to the character that became so iconic, just the way the camera glides through the club, and you're like, I shouldn't be here right now. I'm so underdressed watching this on my couch. I can only imagine what it was like to see in theaters, but the sound and the picture, to sit with an audience to watch it for the first time. Now, I've had the pleasure of watching the Daniel Craig films in theaters, and that's No Time to Die is incredible. It's one of my favorite Bond films. But get to see like the original ones, the first ones, the Sean Connery ones, and just be like, wow, I'm in a place I'm too schlubbily dressed for, and get to be part of this thrilling spy adventure. Whether that's the spy versus spy quality of From Russia with Love, the megalomania of Goldfinger, there's this irresistible quality. And then it's not like it's went away, because, you have the spy versus spy quality in GoldenEye. You have that same megalomania with Boris. Then you have, for example, with Daniel Craig, the more toned down nature of Casino Royale, but then you have Skyfall with its counterterrorism, and how, I will say, the thing that changed with the villains is the megalomania probably got a little smaller. but even then, like Spectre with, bringing back the global organization, and Christoph Waltz's like brutalness. I think all of these elements really lure and seduce the viewer to make them feel part of this fantasy. And something that's been going on for 25 films wouldn't be like that if there wasn't that kind of quality to it that I think makes these films so special. I don't know if this episode really has a point. I realize as I've talked for about 9 minutes. But I guess what I really want to say is I'm just seduced by these movies that will allow me to enter a world and a place I'll never know, to be apart with people I'll never see, and walk with the thrilling adventures of James Bond. Thank you. I hope you have a good day, and look forward to seeing you again with the next episode. Bye now.